You're watching NFL Daily. I am Harrison Graham. Tom Downey aside me as well. And we got a lot of NFL news, rumors, and unfortunately, Tom, injuries to cover here. So let's kick it off with Courtland Sutton, the Broncos wide receiver. He is done for the year.
Denver fans are in shambles. Assistant to the producer, Sam, is in shambles because the Broncos have all kinds of injuries here. We'll get to Drew Lock, but the Sutton one, that one really hurts. You were banking on Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and also KJ Hamler, who finally got some playing time in week 2, being the focal point of a new-look offense with Drew Lock. He's out for the year, a torn ACL. Now you're banking on Jerry Jeudy to really emerge, KJ Hamler to stay healthy, and I guess Tim Patrick to be wide receiver 3. Of course, you have Noah Fant. That helps, but this is a big-time loss for Denver.
Well, and I just think with everything the Broncos have dealt with already, Von Miller out for the year, Drew Lock's going to miss some time, which we're going to shift to him in just a second. But this was an important year for Denver to get these young guys to develop together and get significant reps together, and that's not going to be the case with Sutton. And now Drew Lock is going to miss some time, and now there's even more concerns because if you remember, Tom, Drew Lock was not healthy to start last year. So all of a sudden, you got a quarterback who maybe he's got some injury concerns long term. Nothing super serious so far, but I kind of think Carson Wentz, where there's always something with him, hopefully that's not going to be the case here with Drew Lock.
Yeah, and it's a throwing shoulder injury for Drew Lock, so that is very concerning. The timeline here is 2 to 6 weeks. I think Vic Fangio said maybe 3 weeks, which is a clear sign to me. He's going to head to IR. Remember, folks, the IR rules have changed. Things are going to be different. They can come back as soon as 3 weeks, and there's an unlimited number of players that can be brought back. So I think you'll see IR go to at least, we'll call it short-term IR here. That leaves Jeff Driscoll as the starting quarterback, who once again gets the start in the NFL thanks to injuries. He's not a disaster, Harrison.
He's like he's a very poor, younger version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He just keeps getting chances, Tom. He finds a way to get into the lineup for an NFL team, and now Jeff Driscoll gets back in there, and hey, to his credit, he wasn't horrible, especially against that Steelers defense. The completion percentage isn't great, but 256 and 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick. They at least competed in that game, but the important thing is here really isn't about Jeff Driscoll coming in and playing well. It's about Drew Lock getting as much reps as possible this year, and that's not going to happen for at least the next couple of games, it looks like. So we will monitor this situation with Lock. Some bad news for the Denver Broncos in Week 2. And you guys should subscribe to the channel because despite how much work we do on Sundays with a lot of our team channels, we still covered these injuries yesterday, Tom. We put out a video about halftime of the noon games because there was a significant injury in just about every single game. We got you guys covered on the latest injury news, breaking news, rumors. We do live mailbags only here on our live show, so you got to tune in Monday and Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. That way you never miss any of it here at Chat Sports. Let's get to another injury here. Christian McCaffrey, he's heading to IR.
In a normal year, you wouldn't see McCaffrey be placed on IR, but with it being a 4 to 6 week injury after that ankle issue popped up really late in the game in Week 2 for Carolina, I think an IR stint makes a lot of sense for McCaffrey. Now, he said he wants to return quicker. Even if it's 3 weeks, it probably makes sense to put him on IR. After that, he can return. It'll probably mean Mike Davis becomes the lead back for Carolina. Trenton Cannon, the former Jets draft pick, is there. Reggie Bonifant, who was a quarterback at Louisville before this Lamar Jackson guy, should have moved him down to running back, and things have worked out pretty well there. It's a big-time loss for Carolina, Harrison. This is someone who was supposed to be the focal point of the offense. Now he's not there.
Yeah, look, this is a major loss. Carolina, this is probably a transition type of year for them anyway under new head coach Matt Rule. This obviously stinks for them. Mike Davis, kind of like Jeff Driscoll, keeps getting into the starting lineup.
Baby.
If you're a fantasy owner, go get Mike Davis because he is going to get an opportunity to play for Carolina. Christian McCaffrey out for at least 3 weeks. Now, we got some jerseys available for only $75, Tom. You're not going to find a better deal out there at chatsports.com/jersey sale. We got McCaffrey. We got CD Lamb. We got Tua. We got a lot of the top players off of all of your favorite teams. These jerseys are all only $75. Go to that link, chatsports.com/jersey sale. Pick out your favorite player, your favorite team. We got a lot of them available for you guys.
By the way, that Baker Mayfield jersey, the ones we're showing here are $75. The Baker one, because it's an older Browns jersey, is actually under $50. Ooh. Significantly discounted because it is an older version of the jersey, but you can check that out. Check them out for all your favorite teams or whatever your singular favorite team is at chatsports.com/jersey sale.
The latest news around the Seattle Seahawks. Let's start with Bruce Irvin. He is done for the year. Some bad news coming out of that Week 2 game against the Patriots.
Injuries did not turn out well for Seattle in that game, though the victory, of course, matters,
Yes.
but they are going to be without Bruce Irvin for the rest of the year. He's confirmed he suffered that torn ACL. He was a linebacker for Seattle, kind of a strong side linebacker. His main role, though, was rushing the pass. That's what he did for the most part. So from that perspective, he is an edge rusher for Seattle. He didn't have any sacks. We did have a couple hurries, a couple quarterback hits as well. For a team, by the way, that has really struggled at getting after the quarterback. And with Irvin off the roster right now, LJ Collier showed some flash, especially late in that game. I know he's your boy, Harrison, that big-time tackle for loss.
That play on Cam Newton to seal the game was huge, obviously. But you make a good point, Tom. Not only has this team struggled to get after the quarterback, they've especially struggled from the guys that need to get after the quarterback. Sure, Jamal Adams can give you 5, 6, 7 snaps from a safety, which is nice to have, but that doesn't need to lead the team in sacks. Like, you got to have someone on that front to give you some pressure, and Bruce Irvin was a guy, at least in theory, that was going to provide some of that, and he is now done for the year.
In terms of like a likelihood of who was going to lead Seattle in sacks, before the Jamal Adams addition and all that, I think Irvin would have been one of the front runners. Benson Mayowa has shown some flashes as well. But outside of Jamal Adams, this is not a team that is generating consistent pass rush. Now one of the guys you were hoping for is no longer there, and now you're looking for kind of an edge rusher, linebacker hybrid. We will do some replacements on our Seahawks channel tomorrow. I think Clay Matthews is a perfect fit right now.
Yeah, I think at this point it makes a lot of sense. The whole offseason conversation here, Tom, has been, Clay Matthews played for Pete Carroll in college, go sign him. Well, X's and O's matter, but at this point, Seattle's desperate for pass rush, and that familiarity does help. So do you think Seattle should sign him? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. For you Seahawks fans, get subscribed to our Seahawks-only channel because Tom's going to put together a list of replacements for Bruce Irvin and put that out for you guys on Tuesday. So go check that out, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. But if you think they should sign Clay Matthews, type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. And this one just came through the pipeline here, Tom. Marquise BLAIR done for the year, and I don't know about you, but this secondary has problems.
That's a big loss for Seattle. They had moved Marquise BLAIR from safety into this kind of nickel corner safety hybrid role, and it was a wonderful surprise because he was not expected to handle that role. He'd never been a nickel corner before. And Pete Carroll was super impressed. He'd locked down that role. When Quandre Diggs was ejected, he kind of played some safety as well. But then KJ Wright came in late and low, and you could tell the minute that contact happened, it was not a good injury for Marquise BLAIR.
Yep.
He's expected to be out for the season. So Ugo Amadi, who wasn't great in terms of last year and even the limited reps he's had this season, he's probably next up at nickel. Maybe Seattle moves a Griffin or Dunbar in that role on passing downs, kicks Trey Flowers on the outside. But this is a big-time loss for the Seattle Seahawks. Two really starters for this team, and Bruce Irvin and BLAIR now out for the year. That hurts.
And look, as good as Cam Newton was on Sunday night, and he was fantastic, Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry were getting open on just about every play.
Yes, they were.
Especially down the stretch. That's a problem. Those are good players. Those aren't the best receivers the Seahawks are going to face this year. So they got to figure things out in their secondary and, of course, at the pass rush spot. Now, Seahawks fans and all NFL fans, we've got face coverings available at chatsports.com/stay safe. You go to that link, a lot of these are up to 20% off, especially the multi-packs. We got all 32 NFL teams, solo packs all the way up to 4-packs at that link below. It's chatsports.com/stay safe. Put that link in the comments. We'll put it in the description. If you're watching live, we'll get it in the live chat for you guys as well. You click on it, boom, you can go shop. Take advantage of the 20% off while it is available. Justin Herbert lit the NFL world on fire in Week 2, Tom, and he found out about 5 minutes before kickoff he was starting over TYROD Taylor, who had to go to the hospital with some chest pain.
It was really weird.
He's cleared, by the way. He's good to go. He's left the hospital. But for some reason, Anthony Lynn is like, despite our rookie quarterback who we took number 6 overall, we're going to go back to TYROD.
I don't fully understand this apparent decision, or at least what Anthony Lynn is saying about his decision-making process here. Maybe it's just coach speak. He also doubled down again today and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to go back to Taylor. He's 100% our guy here." If you're the Chargers, Herbert's your guy now. Unless he really struggles and regresses in more starts, he has to be your starter going forward.
Justin Herbert played better against the Chiefs than TYROD Taylor played against Cincinnati in Week 1. That's all I need to know. You roll with the future now. Type JH for Justin Herbert. Type TT for TYROD Taylor. I think it's obvious. Justin Herbert's the guy. He played great. Throw him into the fire. Let's see what happens. Speaking of quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo looks like he could be out in Week 3. He's got a high ankle sprain.
It is at least a concern for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Shanahan said today, Kyle Shanahan, their head coach, it's not a severe injury. They think he's going to be okay, that they're not panicking on it yet, and that he does indeed have a chance to play in Week 2, or in Week 3, excuse me. On the bright side, look, their next matchup isn't the best, but Mullins played okay as well. So it's not like, I think you can survive with him if you need to. He's not nearly as good as some Niners fans like to think. You, of course, want Jimmy G out there more for the long term, but it's against the Giants in Week 3. I think you can win that game with Mullins at the helm, even with all their injuries.
I'm so ready for Nick Mullins to light it up and for 49ers fans to create a quarterback.
Oh, he might, because it's a bad Giants secondary. They're not good.
Find you someone who loves Nick Mullins as much as 49ers fans do, because I've never seen so much love for a backup quarterback in my life. Luckily, like you said, the schedule's worked out well. Jets this past week, Giants in Week 3. The Eagles haven't been impressive. Miami kind of stinks. Then you got the Rams and Patriots that picks up here. But if he's not ready to go, you sit him against the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely.
No BJ or OBJ, the trade rumors that just keep on giving. Looks like that Cleveland's going to hang on here.
This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but look, this is going to pop up consistently. The second the Browns traded for Odell Beckham, there were more Odell Beckham trade rumors. This is just what happens around him. I think it's fairly annoying, but that is the reality of life as Odell Beckham, because people are always trying to connect you to various trade rumors. So it's frustrating. I get it. I don't foresee them trading him right now because they need him. They get worse if they trade away Odell Beckham. And it doesn't make sense.
You got to see what happens this year. I mean, this is a big year for that organization. Is Baker the guy? I think that's still
when he's upset. Yes, he is the guy.
That's still up in the air. You got to find that out this year. Is OBJ and Jarvis Landry pieces you want a part of this team for the future? The Browns have invested heavily on this entire football team, including in Odell Beckham. So we'll leave you with this question: what should they do with OBJ? Type OBJ for keep him. Type no BJ for trade him. We got coaches on the hot seat already,
yeah, we
and
do.
The latest odds from our friends in Vegas. Adam Gase, Matt Patricia, which we're going to have a video out on Patricia, by the way, coming up tomorrow.
Night.
So subscribe to the channel. Tom and I put a list together for possible replacements. Dan Quinn, Doug Marrone, and yes, Bill O'Brien, although I will say this about the Texans. They've had some rough luck with the schedule.
Sure, I'm not going to fully panic on Houston yet. Doug Marrone and, frankly, Jay Gruden's done a great job as the OC down there.
Hey,
those first three guys, though?
Jacksonville's played great.
Adam Gase, Matt Patricia, Dan Quinn.
They're bad.
Get them out of here. I've seen enough. Fire them. They're not good. They got to go. Especially Adam Gase. He sucks.
Especially Gase and Patricia. Quinn has done some good things, but I think that relationship has run its course. Who will be the first NFL coach to be fired? I do think it's Gase or Patricia. I might lean Patricia at this point because it was not that long ago that the Jets were still talking highly of Adam Gase for whatever reason.
The issue for the Jets is they brought in a new GM, Joe Douglas, who likes Adam Gase. So there's some disconnect there in terms of normally new GM means change. The Falcons, Thomas Dimitroff has been there forever along with Dan Quinn, relatively speaking, of course, for the NFL. And then the Lions, Bob Quinn, brought in Matt Patricia. So you might see a total regime change, which typically doesn't happen until after the year ends. So I don't know, ends up being the first coach fired.
So let us know who will be the first coach to get fired. It was a rough week in week 2, Tom. We've covered a lot of the injuries. These are some of the ones that we didn't get into deeper depth into here. Tavon Young, he has a season-ending knee injury. Nick Bosa, we've covered that as well. Torn ACL. Saquon Barkley. We got Barkley replacements coming up for those of you watching live. Malik Hooker, torn Achilles. That's not a good injury moving forward for him. And then Anthony Barr is also out with the torn pec. Lots of injuries in week 2. Hopefully that does not happen in week 3.